Did you know that immigration is one of the most hotly debated topics in America today? It's true. The conversation around immigration is not just a political issue, it's a deeply personal one that affects millions of lives. From the bustling streets of New York City to the quiet towns in the Midwest, everyone has an opinion, and those opinions are often passionately expressed. From kitchen tables to the halls of Congress, the issue ignites passions and fuels fiery rhetoric. Families gather to discuss the future of their loved ones while lawmakers debate policies that could change the course of the nation. The stakes are incredibly high, and the emotions even higher. But behind the political posturing and the heated debates lies a fundamental question. What kind of nation do we want to be? This question isn't just about policy, it's about the very soul of America. Are we a nation that values diversity and inclusion, or one that prioritizes security and control? A nation that welcomes those seeking a better life? The stories of immigrants are often tales of hope and resilience. They come here with dreams of a better future, not just for themselves but for their children and future generations, or a nation that closes its borders and turns its back on the world. The argument for stricter immigration controls is often framed around national security and economic stability, but at what cost do we close our doors? In 2025, these questions are more urgent than ever. With global crises and economic challenges mounting, the decisions we make now will shape the future for decades to come. The clock is ticking, and the world is watching. Former President Donald Trump, a lightning rod for controversy during his presidency, has returned to the political arena with a vengeance, promising a radical overhaul of America's immigration system. His speeches are filled with promises of sweeping changes, and his supporters are more energized than ever. His proposals, a mix of old ideas and new, have sent shockwaves through the country, dividing communities and igniting fierce resistance. Protests have erupted in cities across the nation, and community meetings have become battlegrounds for opposing views. Trump's vision, a stark departure from the policies of the Biden era, marks a pivotal moment in America's ongoing struggle with immigration. The contrast between the two administrations couldn't be clearer, and the nation finds itself at a crossroads. It's a vision that has left many Americans anxious and uncertain about the future. As the debate rages on, the country must grapple with its identity and values, asking itself what kind of America it wants to be in the years to come. America's immigration system has long been a source of frustration and despair. Bogged down by bureaucratic inefficiencies, plagued by backlogs, and often seemingly designed to keep people out rather than welcome them in, the system is in dire need of reform. For years, politicians on both sides of the aisle have acknowledged the need for change. Yet despite numerous attempts at reform, the system remains largely unchanged. Border security, visa processing delays, and the fate of millions of undocumented immigrants living in the shadows continue to be major points of contention. Public opinion on immigration is just as fractured as the system itself. While some Americans believe in welcoming immigrants with open arms, others favor stricter border control and limits on legal immigration. This deep divide has made it exceedingly difficult to find common ground and enact meaningful reform. Trump's return to the political spotlight has brought with it a renewed focus on immigration. His vision, outlined in a series of fiery speeches and policy proposals, is clear: to drastically reduce both legal and illegal immigration. He has vowed to build on the policies he enacted during his presidency, which were met with widespread protests and legal challenges. Trump's proposals have been met with a mix of applause and outrage. His supporters, many of whom feel that America has lost control of its borders, hail his tough stance. They argue that his policies are necessary to protect American jobs, safeguard national security, and preserve American culture. Opponents, however, view his proposals as cruel, impractical, and driven by xenophobia. They argue that his policies would harm the economy, tear families apart, and damage America's reputation on the world stage. One of the cornerstones of Trump's immigration plan is a renewed emphasis on border security. This plan has sparked intense debate and controversy across the nation, with strong opinions on both sides of the issue. He has vowed to complete the construction of a wall along the US-Mexico border, a project that was a signature promise of his 2016 campaign. The wall, according to Trump, is not just a physical barrier, but a symbol of national sovereignty and security. Trump argues that the wall, along with increased surveillance technology and a surge in Border Patrol agents, is necessary to stem the flow of illegal drugs and undocumented immigrants into the country. He believes that these measures will significantly reduce crime rates and protect American jobs. He has painted a dire picture of the border, describing it as a porous gateway for criminals and terrorists. This narrative has been a central theme in his speeches and rallies, aiming to rally support for his stringent immigration policies. Critics, however, argue that the wall is a costly and ineffective symbol of xenophobia. They contend that it diverts attention and resources from more effective solutions and exacerbates tensions between communities. They point out that illegal immigration has been declining for years, and that most illegal drugs enter the country through legal ports of entry. These critics emphasize the need for comprehensive immigration reform rather than focusing solely on border enforcement. They argue that the billions of dollars being spent on the wall would be better invested in addressing the root causes of migration, such as poverty and violence in Central America. By improving conditions in these countries, they believe that fewer people would feel compelled to make the dangerous journey to the United States. Section 5. A Nation of Laws, Cracking Down on Illegal Immigration. Trump has also vowed to crack down on illegal immigration within the United States. His administration has made this a cornerstone of its policy, arguing that it is essential for national security and economic stability. He has proposed increasing deportations, targeting not just those with criminal records, but also those who have overstayed their visas or entered the country without proper documentation, hiring thousands of new immigration enforcement agents, and bolstering the resources available to agencies like ICE and the Border Patrol, and expanding the use of detention centers for undocumented immigrants. These centers have been criticized for their conditions, but the administration argues they are necessary to manage the influx of detainees. Trump has argued that these measures are necessary to enforce the rule of law and deter future illegal immigration. He believes that strict enforcement will send a clear message to those considering entering the country illegally. He has taken a hard line against so-called sanctuary cities that limit their cooperation with federal immigration enforcement efforts. These cities argue that their policies protect immigrant communities and build trust with local law enforcement. Opponents argue that Trump's approach is inhumane and counterproductive. They believe that it fosters division and fear rather than addressing the root causes of illegal immigration. They point out that mass deportations would tear families apart, devastate local economies, and remove vital members of communities who contribute to the social and economic fabric of the nation, and create a climate of fear in immigrant communities. This fear can lead to underreporting of crimes and a breakdown in community relations. They argue that a more humane and practical approach would be to provide a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who are already living and working in the United States. This, they say, would integrate these individuals into society, allowing them to contribute fully and openly to the economy and their communities. Section 6. The Human Cost Families Torn Apart, Dreams Deferred. Lost in the political back and forth over immigration policy are the human stories of those most affected by these changes, immigrants themselves. For many immigrants, coming to America represents a chance at a better life, an opportunity to escape poverty, violence, or persecution. They arrive full of hope and dreams, eager to contribute to their new country. However, the reality of navigating America's complex and often unforgiving immigration system can be daunting. Trump's policies have made this journey even more difficult. His administration implemented a zero-tolerance policy at the border, separating thousands of migrant children from their parents. The images of children being held in cages sparked outrage and condemnation both domestically and internationally. Section 7. A Nation on Edge. The debate rages on. The debate over immigration is not just about policy, it's about America's soul. It's about who we are as a nation and what values we hold dear. Trump's proposals have reignited a long-simmering debate about American identity. His supporters argue that America is losing its identity as a nation of laws, and that mass immigration is a threat to American culture and values. They believe that America should prioritize the needs of its citizens over those of immigrants. Opponents counter that America has always been a nation of immigrants, and that its diversity is its strength. They argue that America has a moral obligation to welcome those fleeing persecution, and that immigrants make valuable contributions to the country's economy and culture. Section 8. The future of immigration. A nation holds its breath. As Trump continues to push his immigration agenda, the future of immigration in America remains uncertain. His proposals face significant legal challenges, and it remains to be seen how many of them he will be able to implement. The outcome of this debate will have far-reaching consequences, not just for immigrants themselves, but for the future of America. It will determine whether America remains a beacon of hope for those seeking a better life, or whether it turns inward, closing its borders and its heart to the world. Thanks for stopping by today, Hot Reels. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give it a like. Your support helps us bring you more amazing content. Stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Pinterest, and Threads for the latest updates and trending reels. Subscribe now and be part of the fun.